Hello, hello. This is week 9 in our journey. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Elena. How are
Great
you?
to see you. I am excited about our new episode because today we will speak about decision, and Napoleon Hill dedicated a whole chapter to decision, how to make right decision and how to overcome procrastination because procrastination is indecision. So let's speak about this today.
All right. Um, there's one particular quote from this chapter that I highlighted. You know how you read a quote and sometimes it sticks with you and you use it throughout the day. And I've read this chapter a number of times, but opinions are the cheapest commodities on earth was in this chapter. And you know what does that have to do with what does that have to do with decision? Well, decision he when he's talking about decision, it's the master of procrastination. And I know you ascribe to the theory that um, bold action or taking action on something, it beats careful planning every day of the week. And we talk about planning, but this is more the taking action, because that's what defines leadership, right? We're taking a step. Sometimes you learn as you go. But if you wait till all the elements are perfect before you take any action, you're not going to be very effective. You might be effective, but you're not going to be efficient. It's going to take too long to start. The window of opportunity that forced you to make a decision will close. And so I like the perspective. He frames it as decision is the mastery of procrastination. We don't ignore procrastination. We don't pretend it's a bad thing that we don't have, because we all have a tendency to procrastinate. In fact, I think that's our subconscious mind trying to maintain the status quo and protect us from making rash decisions. But every single successful endeavor that we all know about started with someone decided to do it, even though 10 out of 10 people said no. His subconscious mind was telling him don't do it, still did it. And if they hadn't made the step, it wouldn't have happened. So it's important. um, but procrastination, all that is the lack of decision. So it's like the opposite. Decision is the mastery of procrastination. So decision is the opposite of procrastination, but procrastination is the opposite of decision. I really like this whole theme that successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly.
Yes. And when we speak about decision, it is a big difference between decide something and be committed, what we call committed decision, and feeling something or wishing something and say that okay, if it goes that way I will do that, if it doesn't go that way I will not do that. Yeah, so here we will speak about irrevocable committed decision. When you know exactly what you want and you say tell yourself I am going to do that, whatever it takes, I am committed to take steps, to take actions which will bring me. And it is not comfortable. Yes, it is not comfortable. Here we speak about achieving big goals and making decision which will be taking you outside of your comfort zone, because this is the only way how you can achieve big goals. Yes, so it is a big difference between being committed and be interested, because when you are just interested in doing something, you will do that only when it is comfortable. But when you are committed and make decision from place of commitment, you will take every step which you will know will bring you closer to your goal. And this is what is the big difference in results.
Making decisions is all about taking steps. Um, Hill talks about procrastination as our common enemy, and everyone can relate to this. They've done it themselves, or you've seen. I have someone that has been talking and talking and talking about buying a boat, a nice boat to where he can go on the water and go fishing and go far away places across the lake or in the Gulf or in rivers. And he has all these plans and he reads magazines about how bad he wants the book. And money's not really a concern in this guy's situation. It's just he's been wanting this boat for 20 years. Life is short. Finance it. Whatever you have to do. If this is something that you want to do, either decide to do it or flush it from your list of desires, because there's that element that is a recurring theme in this book, the definiteness of purpose. Is it a purpose for you? And that's when we get into connecting with our burning desire and our subconscious mind, and carefully planning and getting the knowledge we need. But taking action is the biggest step, and he warns about it. Others' opinions could dictate our decisions. You don't let other people's opinions. I mean, you can go to people for counsel or advice, especially if they know more about whatever it is you want than you know. But man, opinions are the cheapest commodity on earth. We should rely on our own judgment and analysis, especially if that judgment and analysis is connected to what we want, goals, big or small. As long as they're related to the definiteness of purpose, we can have that single mindedness. And he warns against the influence of others. He said, keep your own counsel and only share with your mastermind group, because you're building a mastermind group, right? Comprised of people who who have read this book, probably, who have goals, who know your goals, you know theirs. It's an uplifting, empowering group. It's not a group like I had a grandmother, and she was very, very practical and very, very frugal and thrifty. And whenever I had a good idea, if I thought it was too good to be true, I'd go pitch it to my grandmother, and she would tell me all the reasons it was a bad idea. And she was older and wiser, so I would usually listen. But not everybody is saying no because no is the right answer. They're saying no because they're scared to do it. They think you could fail and they don't want to risk it. We all want our lives to get better, every single one of us. If you don't want your life to get better, there's something wrong. You're supposed to want your life to get better. However, none of us want anything to ever change. We want things to stay the same because of that safety. And that safety or that comfort, like you said, doesn't make the kinds of impactful, positive change, especially with regard to getting rich, that being uncomfortable gets you.
Yes, and you are today here in your life because of the decisions which you did before. You made those decisions, you took actions, you had assumptions, you had expectations. And this is whatever you got in life came from those things which were in your past. So if you continue making decisions the same way based on your current results, it will not take you anywhere further from where you are, because this is the three components of goal achieving process, and how thoughts will affect how you feel, your feelings affect your actions, and actions will affect your results. So when you make decision from the place of your current situation, for example, you look at your bank account and you know how much you have there, or you ask other people who are in your now circle, it it will not bring you anywhere closer to your goal if it is really big. You have to learn how to make decisions being detached from your current results, from your facts, so called, because facts are results of your previous decisions, and you have to make decisions from the place of your goal. And before you make the decision, you should see yourself very clear what your life will be, who you will become, what you will do. And you have to have that clear picture of your life, how it will be different when you achieve your goal, and making decision from that place. And of course, only you can do that because only you can see that vision. As Paul said, that nobody can know who you really are because you are not who other people tell you who you are. Only you can discover who you are and you can discover your potential. And only you are given those talents and gifts to be who you meant to be. And only you see that vision. So it is like having your glasses and giving to other people and asking them how well they see. Of course, they will not see anything well through those glasses because their vision is different, their sight is different, and doctor gave you prescription that is good only for you. So when you wear your glasses, you can see very clear. But
Right.
if you give them to other people, they will see like blurrish and say, "What is that? Like, how you can wear that? It doesn't work." Right? So, this is exactly how, if you ask other people to tell you what you should do or what you shouldn't do, it is not a good way to live. Make decision based on your intuition, based on knowledge of yourself. And this is what we do in this program to help you to study yourself first, study your potential, understand that everything is possible, and make decision from the place where your goal already achieved.
Well, I I know what a lot of people like these days. It seems like they like hacks or shortcuts or little mental tricks you can play on yourself. And I'm not always negative about hacks because sometimes hacks are helpful. And a little hack, I may be dating myself, but 45 years ago, a rock band from Canada had a song about free will, and it was called Free Will. But one of the lyrics that just stays in my head, and it was in my head, this whole song was in my head when I was reading the chapter, but in that song it says, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. So if you've got some kind of phobia about making decisions, well, failure to act, or the thought process that led you to not take action, was a decision. So you have to decide, either to decide or not to decide. So don't think there's a way out of a decision. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. I think that is kind of apropos, and I think it might be helpful to think in those terms, because procrastination is real. It's a real thing. Our good friend Daniel, he's got a whole um, entire presentation on procrastination, because if procrastination was less of a thing, yeah, our, there would be more disasters, but there would also be more wild success stories. And if you're making a decision, and it's important that this is chapter 8, right? We're talking about pushing you to make a decision, because Napoleon Hill has already got you to find your burning desire. It's already told you to get your specialized knowledge. They've already told you all the different steps in all the previous chapters. Now is the time to make a decision. This would not have been, you don't make a decision if you don't know why you're doing it, or what you're doing it, or why you want to do it. We're there. And that's the beauty of this program, is we are talking, we are making sure that we're closing all the loops, and we're digging deeper, challenging each other on, are we absorbing and taking in all the information in these chapters? Because we are, the order is magical. It's now time to decide. We're halfway through the book, right? But now is the time to take action. Not at the end, not before now. It's now. And, um, he says avoiding influence of others, but you want to gather your information wisely. This is why we talk so much about the specialized knowledge. You acquire necessary facts and information. You can do this quietly without revealing your purpose, because as soon as you reveal your purpose, you're going to have everybody saying why it's a bad idea. But you want to avoid excessive talking and prioritize listening. And anybody here that's a salesperson, that is some amazing advice that I got repeatedly in my career. But making prompt decisions becomes a habit, just like auto suggestion. Leaders are decisive. Indecision leads to failure. And you want to cultivate that habit of making decisions, which means this whole idea of you are now a person who makes decisions is something you have to communicate to your subconscious mind, either through autosuggestion, repetition, or repetitive action. But all of this is the value of that definiteness of purpose, which is a recurring theme. But you've got to have a clear goal if you want to make fast decisions.
Yes, and decision comes together with discipline and commitment. And it also comes together with your identity. So, whatever you thought about your decisiveness before, from today on, think about yourself as a very decisive person who makes decision fast and change it slow, who is disciplined. You tell yourself every day, I am very disciplined. I decide and I act upon my decisions. Also, it is related to be commitment. Be committed to your decisions and do the proper planning. And as we already discussed in previous chapter, planning is very crucial. So when you decide something, it's not enough just think, oh, I want that and I will do something. It needs clear plan, and this planning starts in the evening of the next day. So today evening you plan your next day and choose the tasks which are non-negotiable. Prioritize your task and choose to do things which you know will bring you to your goal. Make them negotiable. Be committed. If you don't do something one day, you know already what will be the priority to do the next day. This is how you can hold yourself accountable, because making decisions coming together with daily actions and discipline, and you can hold you accountable yourself. And also, of course, it is good to connect with like-minded people who are also in the journey with you in our program, so you can find accountability partner which will help you to create new habits, because creating new habits takes commitment. It also requires persistence, and it requires be willingness to do things which are uncomfortable. Because if you really want to change your life, you should be ready to do things which are not comfortable. Because successful people, why they are successful? Because they do things which other people don't like to do, which failures don't like to do. But they do them, they keep persistent, and this is how they become successful.
Right. Well, I and I'm judging from everyone that I've met. I feel like most people believe or think of themselves or fancy themselves as leaders, when in reality, most people are followers. And leaders can leaders can spot other leaders. That's the power of a mastermind. But developing the leadership quality, and that's the cornerstone, is not just making decisions, because I've heard the quote, everything happens for a reason. Unfortunately, sometimes that reason is you make terrible decisions. So if you're making decisions and they're terrible, that's not leadership. That's just an idiot. You've got to have a plan. That plan has to be based on a goal. That goal has to have a foundation of a burning desire. But decisiveness is a hallmark of effective leaders. So you want to cultivate this trait, but you don't want to cultivate this trait just for the sake of making decisions because you believe you'll be a leader if you make decisions, because a bunch of bad decisions will make you even worse than a follower. It will make you someone that is you've met the people. Their life, their position in their own life right now is depressing and miserable because of usually a series of bad decisions. So the way to be a leader is to not only make decisions but make them good decisions. So I love your idea, the notion of planning your day the night before, prioritizing that. I love to use Dwight Eisenhower, the 1950s U.S. president, he did the Eisenhower matrix where he made four quadrants, and it was like urgent and important. So it was not urgent and not important and important. So anything that was in that quadrant of important and urgent, that's your priority. If it's important but not urgent, you delegate it. If it's urgent but not important, you I forget. I used to. I wrote this in my book, but I know that if it's not important or urgent, get it off your list. And when we don't have a set agenda for the next day or a set plan for the next day, those things that should have been deleted from your list are occupying too much real estate in your brain. You can't be a leader if you don't have the ability to prioritize things. So maintaining the focus, um, and maximizing efficiency. Prompt decision making streamlines the process and eliminates wasted time. If you make a decision and halfway through your decision, you realize that there's something wrong in your plan, well, now you're committed. So you have to fix it. It didn't come up in the planning, but we've got to figure it out. But you're way further ahead than if you weren't right, you weren't wrong to decide, because had you not decided, you may have never took the first step. And the efficiency, though, is crucial for achieving goals. So you're actually more efficient if you start early with some variables missing that you have to repair or replace or rethink on the fly than if you wait until all the ducks are aligned perfectly in a row.
Yes, absolutely true.
But personal power is making your own decisions, sticking to them. This builds personal power. Leadership is what you talked about, holding yourself accountable. It's nice to have someone hold you accountable. It's helpful to have someone accountable, but and even the biggest leaders that you know in the world, someone holds them accountable. And but if you want to achieve a goal, you must develop the ability to hold yourself accountable, especially if you're building a habit of making decisions.
Yes, and decision and discipline, commitment doesn't connect with overwhelming. It doesn't mean that you should be overwhelmed. Initially, it can be feeling like, oh, I have to do so much, which is uncomfortable, and it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming if you do so much. If you do so much, it will be overwhelming. So, achieving your goal is not, it shouldn't be hard. When it becomes hard, it is when you do so much things. So the secret here is not in doing so many things, but doing less things which are really matter, which are important, as Paul said, urgent, and you know this is this like milestones for your goal, and you focus on them, and you every day you say to yourself, what is from 3 to 6 actions I can take today that will bring me to my goal, and you make them non-negotiable, and you do them every day. If not today, something that you didn't do today, you just put it for tomorrow. And this way how you take your success every day. And remember about 20-80% rule, that your 20% actions create 80% of your results. So instead of just jumping from one task to another task and overwhelm yourself with different ideas, with different offers, you decide what are the best of the ideas, what you can focus, and say no to everything else. Even if you get new ideas, you can write them down, but stay focused on what you decided to make. Stay focused to create those new habits, those new routines, to make them automatic till time when you don't need to put your efforts, put your conscious about that, when you start doing them automatically, as you brush your teeth every day, or put clothes on every day without thinking about this. And then after you create one habit at a time, another habit at a time, when they start automatic, then you can add new habits. And this is how you will create 4 or 5 new habits a year, and that will make very big transformation in your results.
I'm a I don't want to say I'm recovering because I'm not recovering, but I am definitely addicted to the dopamine effect that we all feel when we complete a task. And like I like to make a to-do list and I get a lot of satisfaction when I can scratch something out because it's done. It is finished. So I like the 7 habits, the habit of beginning with the end in mind. What does completion look like? So when you're crossing out those tasks, which is what feels great to me, I get a dopamine rush every time I cross out a task. In fact, when I have a to-do list and something pops up, like some simple task, and I see it needs to be done, and so I break away and I do the task, I will literally go and write it on my to-do list and scratch it out because I like the dopamine rush of scratching out list on the task. So you have some instincts in you. You just need to learn how to use them because we all have some terrible habits, all of us. But those habits were created by this same process, only you were not awake when you created those habits in all likelihood. So if you want to change the habits or you want to improve your habits or you want to create new habits, which I like, having a goal of how many new habits you want to create in a time period, you've got to be intentional about it. And all I can tell you is there is nothing more satisfying than something you used to procrastinate in the past becoming a habit. I mean, for years, I knew I should exercise more. I knew it. I knew how to do it. I used to exercise a lot when I was younger. And about 10 years ago, I just decided to start going to the gym at 5 a.m. every day. And aside from some really bad weather and some holidays and things like that, for the last 10 years, I've gone to the gym every day at 5 a.m., no matter, well, not no matter what, but at least 350 out of 365 days a year, I go to the gym in the morning. And as a result, I'm in way better shape than in my 50s than I was in my 30s. But I had to make the decision. But now it's a habit. I don't even need my alarm at 5 a.m. anymore. Doesn't matter how late I was up. At 5 a.m., my eyes are awake. It's a habit. I've created a habit. And you shouldn't create a habit once every 10 years. But you should create them and they should be intentional. And if in the context of this book, it's the step after the previous steps. Last time we talked about the organized planning. It's organized plan, it's efficient, effective, but that organized planning, that's, that's after you've exercised in your workshop your imagination. And that's also after you've acquired your specialized knowledge. And we develop tools like auto suggestion. We have faith, we have goals, and we have a burning desire. All of these things, I say it, I sound like a broken record, but all of these things are in a very specific order. So if you've skipped a step, go back and tighten that step up. Because if you haven't skipped a step, the decision that you're making as a result of this chapter, based on your goals and your goal sheet and all the work that you've done to this point in this course, this is a decision that is going to create a habit. And if it's based on everything we've gone over so far, it's going to be a good habit that's going to make your life better. It's going to make you rich. It's going to make you happier. It's going to make you healthier. Whatever. The goal is going to happen. And we'll have, like we talked about it, auto suggestion. It's manifesting in reality. And a lot of people talk about manifesting like you just think something and it happens. You think something and it happens, but before you thought it, all these steps were done. You're not going to be a billionaire if you just think real hard about being a billionaire. You have to take steps. You have to make decisions, but they can't be the kinds of decisions that created the habits that you wish you didn't have. They've got to be positive changes. They've got to be based on goals, and they've got to be very, very specific. But you don't have a your planning's important, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Making decisions beat planning every day. But that doesn't mean planning is not important. The decision is just more important.
Yes, and also again, in order not to be overwhelmed and really create habits, you cannot focus on many habits at a time. You can only pick up one habit. And I want that this week the homework will be to write 5 or 6 habits which you know that you have to develop that will help you to create routines and actions which are needed to achieve your goal, and choose only one, prioritize them, and choose the most important habit to create that you will start today, and focus on this for next 30 days, 60 days, only on one, to do it daily, to get it automated, so you feel not comfortable when you don't do it. Yes, so initially you feel not comfortable by doing this, and when it becomes habit you will feel not comfortable not doing this. Like Paul, if he doesn't go to gym he will not feel comfortable, like something is missing. And choose these 5 6 habits to work on them for next 12 months. Write them, prioritize them, and choose one, pick up one which you will start working from today, and share that in the group so other people can also share theirs, and you can keep yourself and other can keep each other accountable, and start doing it today.
Right? There's no better dopamine rush for all you dopamine addicts like me. There's no better dopamine rush than realizing that you created intentionally a habit. You made the decision based on your goals and your plans, and it was rooted in your burning desire. Adding a habit is huge. Adding and you start, you teach yourself by deciding that you can decide and create habits. You will become a leader. I don't care what your job is. I don't care what your financial situation is. None of it matters. You become a leader when you start taking on decisions that improve who you are. The only thing is, don't don't let others influence you. They are not living your life. They do not have your burning desire. They do not share your goals. If you're going to get advice on decisions you're going to make, keep that in the mastermind and choose wisely when you build your mastermind. Make sure that the people understand and support your goals, and you understand and support those. But remember, if you don't decide, not deciding is a choice. So if you've got a fear of choosing or making decisions, realize you have to decide. You can decide to take action and improve your life, or you can decide to not take action and accept whatever life gives you.
Yes, and first decision that you make is that I can. You say yourself, I can. I want this goal, I want this life, and I can do that. And then decide on one step that you can do today. Decide on one habit that you can create today. And do it now. Do it now. Think about this later. like, make that habit to do it now. Something that you feel resistance, it means that this is something that you have to do to get you to your goal. So start noticing where you feel resistant, what you used to put for later, and start from those tasks.
Yeah, and
And
you have the purpose. You want to create the you want to create the habit. So when you're aware of it and you're intentional about it, you will recognize other people's fears about your decision. You will recognize the actions you're taking because you can evaluate them because you have a goal. When you have a goal to create a habit and you start doing something, you can look down at the dozen donuts you just bought yourself and your goal to lose weight. Is this furthering me towards my goal or is it taking me away from my goal? You're a lot more aware of that when you have these goals written down and you've made the decision to change a habit. You can identify the detractors, you can identify the obstacles, and you can't overcome obstacles if you don't see them coming. So this chapter is very, very powerful. It's just it's not really all that powerful at all if you just read this chapter. You have it's a culmination of everything that's come before, but it's powerful. And personal power is the mark of leadership, and leaders overcome procrastination. They make decisions. Get in the habit of making decisions.
Yes, make decision from where you are today, what you have, and take one first step. When you take first step, you will see other doors will open. As it is said that one door opens and later seven door opens. So you can never know the plan. So don't think about having like perfect plan how to achieve your goal, because you will never know this. You will know the next steps only on the way. So make decisions today, what you want to create, what habits you want to change, write them down, share in the group, and be committed to yourself. See yourself as already the person from the goal achieved. Feel it, how you excited, how life changed, how transformation you went through. And we are looking forward to see you in our next episode.
Yes, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing. Put some thought and challenge yourself with this list because this homework can change your life. Put some thought into it. I'm excited to see what habits people want to create. And I mean, there's no better tool than to share that. If people know
Yes,
what habits you're trying to create, they will support you. They can help you, and you might just by having a new habit that you're sharing, you might add someone to your mastermind, and that's valuable. But do this homework; it's important, and I want to see it.
yes, and give us feedback about this episode. Ask questions. We are always here, happy to support you in your journey.
Awesome. Thank you.